Hello, everybody. I'm here with Clara Bellino again for another episode of our Midweek Bellino Break interview series. Clara, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here with you.
You're coming out with a new album soon.
I am.
That's right. How did you approach writing the new material and selecting cover songs for the album?
Anytime I write an album, I think about the things that matter to me. I have many songs, more than what I could put on the album. So I selected songs that were close to my heart, that were part of the theme of the album. And then in terms of covers, which I don't do very many of, but I actually picked a couple covers that are in French. One of them is by Jacques Brel. The other one was done by France Gall in the 60s, which is a period of pop music in France, which is close to my heart. And that's all I'll say for now.
Oh, well, I'm excited to hear all the music on there. And you worked with LENISE Bent, right? She was engineer for Blondie, right?
Yes, she worked with Blondie, she worked with Steely Dan, she worked with Supertramp in all kinds of different capacities, Bonnie Raitt. And we got to record the instrumental part of the 4 songs I'm going to record the vocals for in September. We got to do that in the studio, and she is amazing in the studio. I mean, I knew this, I loved her when I met her, we really hit it off. Obviously, her discography speaks for itself, but being with her in the studio, you understand why she's earned her, it's not about reputation. Those are the people she worked for, and she's just amazing with miking stuff and with techniques that I so far have not seen anybody use.
I'll send away all my faults.
Speaking of the recording process, how is the recording process different than your other albums, Flying Monkey, Embarcadero, Love, and This Is Happiness?
It's different every time you work with a different person. Flying Monkey, I had songs, I had charts, I picked the musicians, I went and met with a friend who had a studio, who was a great engineer, and who mixed it. Embarcadero Love was slightly different. I had songs, I had ideas about all the instruments, I had people I had played with in my band, some of who were able to translate some of my ideas and produce them and create them. This Is Happiness. I worked with, that's album number 3 or 4, depending if you count my live album in San Luis Obispo. This Is Happiness. I met these wonderful, talented musician producers. We talked about the songs. We did pre-production. They produced pre-production demos based on what we all talked about. They brought in their musicians. Same producers, Greg Sankovich and Lincoln Adler, who I worked with on This Is Happiness hand in hand, also accompanied me into my new album, and we did the first half, and now I'm working on the second half with LENISE, and everybody's different. Some of the similarities is that we made sure our criteria, whether it was Greg Sankovich, Lincoln Adler, LENISE, Bent, we wanted to have people who were really talented, who were really nice people, who were great people to work with, because for me, by the time I'm able to get into the studio, I want to spend that time with people who are grateful.
How would you come into contact with some of the musicians for this album? Are these people you know for a long time, or just put out an ad?
No, actually, part of the reason I reach out to producers is that they reach out to, once we figure out what we're trying to do and where it's going and what the feel is and what the vision is, they reach out to their bank of people. And of course, within that, I also reach out to some of my people. I mean, in September, I'm recording the vocals in Berkeley at Fantasy Studios, one of my favorite places in the world. I've been recording there every chance I get, which is not as often as I would like. But for the last 20 years, I'm going to do the vocals. And then when we go mix with LENISE in Los Angeles, I'm going to call on my dear friend, LZ Love, to do all the background vocals. So this is somebody that I've known for years and who recorded with me on Embarcadero Love, and who's just an amazing vocalist and human and creative person. So I call on people. There are times when I work with my producer and I say, for that part, I want my friend. But in terms of, what we did in Los Angeles a month and a half ago, LENISE and I talked about it. I described the vision. We talked about the parts, and her job was to find the people to transcribe that vision. And she actually, at one point, she said, well, would you like me to come up to San Francisco and meet with your people? I said, no, actually, I want to come to where you are at home. I want you to call on the people you know, and I wanted you to be in your home. I wanted the people I worked with, based on what they're known for, to call on the people that they knew would match the description and fit the part.
I'll forsake all of my life.
So another question that I'm sure is on everybody's mind. Do you know when the album's coming out, and will you be touring it or promoting it in any way?
The album is coming out this year, before Christmas, if not at Christmas, but hopefully before Christmas. Will I be touring and promoting it? Absolutely. As soon as we have the vocals finalized, and we are, including you, working on the pre-release. And believe me, as soon as it's done and we're working on it ahead of time, I'm going to start performing again, touring, promoting it. I can't wait to release this album. It takes so much patience, to put it together, to find the pieces, to take the time, to be ready for it, to prepare. But yes, absolutely. I'll, as soon as it is out, I'll be performing locally and traveling with it.
Yes, I'll be as true can be.